Happy Friday. I should be at work today. I work Monday through Friday. Two things going on. One thing is the primary system we use where I work statewide got hacked. The FBI is currently investigating who or what entity did it. Haven't really been able to do much work for 2 weeks. Fridays, and certain Fridays, I have what they call, to make it simple, at the desk hearings, where the judge just reads letters and does the judicial consideration, creates an order, which then I input in the computer and mail it out to the defendant. Couldn't do that today. On Fridays, I don't do customer service because I do it Monday through Thursday. So that was one reason not to go to work, because I would just sit there all day watching YouTube when I can do that at home and I don't have to risk my life out on the roads. Another reason I didn't go to work is I had this really nasty cough, flu-like thing for 2 weeks. Have sprained the muscles, hurt really bad. Put on a seatbelt and to turn my head to back up and things like that. So I just stayed home today. So I wanted to talk about several things regarding Trump. And the first thing I want to talk about is the clown college that he is setting up. The people he's picking to be in different departments of the government. And I didn't get all of them, but there's too many names being thrown out right now for me to keep up with every name. But I just want to go through a few. So there's a man named Pete Hegseth, who is going to be potentially the defense secretary. He did serve in the military about 15 years ago, but for the years following that, he does weekend segments on Fox News. How does that qualify him to be defense secretary? Did he ever even leave the desk when he served in the military? Don't know, don't care. However, he is a philanderer. He cheated on his first wife with a second wife. Then he cheated on a second wife with some lady that worked at Fox News who wound up getting pregnant. And the second wife ended up suing him for something. I don't know, maybe breach of contract, maybe they had a prenup, who knows. And I think that Hegseth is the guy who said he hasn't washed his hands in years because he doesn't believe in washing his hands. How nasty is that? I know one of those guys Trump associates with said that. I saw it. Saw it on the video. Not even making it up. And I think Pete Hegseth is the least bad of all the people on this list. That's why I said his name first. For Deputy Chief, Stephen Miller. Very hardcore on deportations. And I can't think of the name of the border czar. But the border czar thinks all immigrants are criminals. And even if a family has one undocumented citizen or undocumented immigrant and a child that was born here who has natural citizenship, deport them both together. Isn't that lovely? Third person, Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. He's a child, you know what, and he's a rapist. And he's also not very smart. And he was also facing trafficking charges, I think. I think that's what it was. So if he gets in with the Donald, then he doesn't have to have any consequences for that. Kristi Noem, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. She's the one that intentionally shot her dog. And it had no reasons to, like, in the case of Old Yeller, the kid had to shoot his dogs for a reason. She didn't do it for any reason. I guess just to test out her pew-pew. I don't know. It's insane. So Trump made up his own department. He calls it the Department of government efficiency, who are going to have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, both who have billion-dollar businesses. And what's their job going to be? To give their opinions on what should be cut from the budget. Billionaires with corporations that can benefit if certain things are cut from the budget or cut from being funded. A little bit of a conflict of interest, don't you think? Finally, RFK Jr., Mr. Brainworms. Anti-vaccine, anti-fluoridated water, anti-pasteurization of milk, Secretary of Health and Human Services. He doesn't want people to be able to buy processed food with their food stamps. Okay, what if somebody on food stamps has a kid who has a disability or a sensory processing problem, and they only want to eat Chex, cereal, and Dino Nuggets? What are they supposed to do? They're not going to eat fruits and vegetables. They can't. These are all yes men for Trump. These are all men, well, one woman, who wear the Donald Trump knee pads. At least when the Cheeto was the president before, he had people around him to keep him in line. Now he has a bunch of yes people, potentially, that just do whatever the hell he says. Doesn't try to check him on anything. Doesn't try to say, hey, doesn't sound very smart. Now, if you do this, this bad thing will happen. They're not going to say that. But who might keep him in check? The armed services. The armed services who took an oath to protect the Constitution and to protect the people in this country, and who are apolitical. They don't want to do every crazy ass thing he dispatches them to do. However, there's an executive order that's already been put in place to where he can fire the 5-star generals and the 4-star generals who oppose him or who won't do what he says, and replace them with loyalists that will do what he says. Now, if this happens, it's going to destroy the morale of everyone, the other armed services people, and they'll either put in for retirement or they won't re-enlist. And if Project 2025 kicks in and all of the LGBTQ soldiers, which there are plenty of them, get discharged out of the military, we're not going to have very many people in the military. And then what's going to happen is conscription of people who are illiterate, people who are anti-intellects or pseudo-intellects, who are obese, who are addicted to drugs or alcohol, because the military has already lowered its enlistment requirements. Now all of the things on my list are out of the way. I'm just going to talk off the top of my head and the top of my heart. So, I bought this sign before Biden stepped down. And I kept it in my window until we had a Halloween party, which I replaced it with my Halloween decorations. Just because it's funny. Giant Meteor 2024. There's one that has even more text on it. It says, Giant Meteor 2024 just ended already. Not funny now, because now we're getting hit by a figurative meteor, which is a 4 years of Trump presidency. Kiss all your rights goodbye, unless you are a straight white man. Otherwise, your rights are going to get stripped. Everybody else's rights are going to get stripped. I've seen all these, before I get to that, One thing I kind of can sit and laugh at is some of the MAGA-teers. Well, they didn't really understand what tariffs were. And they're finally finding out tariffs are going to affect their bottom line and make them even poorer than they already are. And if it comes to pass, we've got mass deportation of immigrants. First of all, I don't think there's going to be mass deportation. And the reason I think that is they don't have the infrastructure to do that. But if that came to pass, then everything you complained about being too high at the grocery store is going to go up even higher because you're not going to have immigrants to be out gathering the vegetables and doing all that farm work and field work that the Americans born here don't want to do or can't do it. Or if they would do it, they won't do it at the pay that the immigrants will do it. So that would massively fuck this economy. Massively. Okay, my final point. I've seen several videos of people crying because their family doesn't want anything to do with them. Their friends broke up with them because they voted for Trump. So there's husbands getting divorce papers because the husbands voted for Trump. And they just don't understand why. Oh, why? It's just politics. Can't we just get along? Just get along. No, to me, politics is this. Hey, I think there should be a flat tax. Well, I don't, because that would affect the poor more than the rich. That's politics, where you can agree and still get along. Human rights is not politics. A vote for Trump is to vote against human rights and human dignity. That's not politics. That's not something I'm willing to negotiate or just pretend like it's okay that you voted for Trump. First time you voted for Trump, you didn't really know what he was. I mean, there's some red flags. There's several red flags, actually. You knew he was just a con man. But you didn't know to the extent to which he hated everybody and wanted to destroy so many lives. This time you knew. You knew. So, I'm going to put Trump supporters into some categories. Trump voters. One of them I'm just going to make up because I know some people in my life that I know for a fact voted for Trump. But that I have to be around them. So I'm going to put them in the category of uninformed. You're just uninformed. You didn't really know what you were voting for because you were uninformed. Second category I'm going to put people in is idiotic. Idiotic people who believe every conspiracy theory that comes down the pipe, and that's why you did it. Third category, selfish. Selfish because you think you're going to get more money in your pocket and fuck everybody else. Fourth category, sadistic. Because you would rather have the people you don't like suffer more than you would like to have a good president. People you hate, including women, immigrants, LGBTQ, disabled, sick, vocal, childless cat ladies, all these people you hate. And you know president is going to try to stick it to them, and that's the one you voted for. Guess what? I don't want anything else to do with you ever. I can't forgive you. I can't forgive you. Even in this state where we knew this state of Washington was going to go to Harris, I still can't forgive you for voting for that monster. And for the people who did the protest not vote, or did the protest third party vote because of Israel, and Palestinians. First of all, the lack of action came from Biden. Biden was the president. Harris had nothing to do with that. So you were voting for Harris. You weren't voting for Biden. Second of all, when has a third party in the last many decades ever made it into the seat? None. Not one. What, 60 years, 70 years? Not one. So you knew either Trump was going to be the president or Harris was going to be the president. And whilst Harris might not have taken very much of a position against the genocide of the Palestinians, Trump just wants that area in Palestine annexed into Israel so he can go put some fucking hotels and casinos there. He said that for him and Elon Musk. So who was worse for that situation? And what about Ukraine? Trump's just going to abandon them. All the while, Putin is over there literally making fun of Trump and saying, now you got to pay us back. We helped you get in. Now you got to pay us back. I'm not going to lay down and die. I search my brain every day for what I can do. What can I do? Just sit here for the next 4 years at least, with my feet up on the table, sipping my tea, and telling everyone who voted for Trump, you got what you wanted. Playing the world's smallest violin, and you can just fuck yourself.